Anyway, let's move on to the two-person cruise here, and I understand that there was a hearing recently, so all I can say is scary. One person, and you got how many hundreds of thousands of tons of metal behind that one person? This is a scary scenario. Greg, why are we going down this road?
Well, let's be clear. This is finally, the Federal Railroad Administration is finally doing a rule, and this goes back to the end of the Obama administration, to set the baseline that a minimum of two people are on every single freight train. And that is one that, frankly, it's the way they operate right now. The railroads have tried to make this into a collective bargaining issue and tried to negotiate a way to limit the crew size and to go further down from 2 to 1 person. And our position is this is a safety issue. It's fundamentally a safety issue. It should not be something that should even be considered at the bargaining table. And it needs to be regulated to mandate that this is the only safe way to operate a freight rail network. And I think that what the administration is doing right now is a really important step, and one that hopefully means that we can put this issue to bed once and for all.
65,000 tons. That's how much a freight train can weigh. 65,000 tons, average over a mile long, and they want to go with the one person. So your testimony, which happened a couple of weeks ago, how was it received, Greg?
I thought it was well received. I mean, I think we have the facts on our side on this one. And, when we make a very, factual case for why this is necessary, when we have, my brothers at the Brotherhood of the Locomotive Engineers and the Smart Transportation, when they talk about their experience, how you operate a train, why you need two people out there. I think when you put all of our arguments together compared to what the railroads did, it's a no-brainer that the facts are on our side and that this is a common sense safety regulation that needs to be put into place. So I look forward to this rule being finalized very soon.
We should point out, too, that a lot of the safety laws we have in our country, history has shown they come after something tragically happens. And I want to reference here, and I saw this in your testimony, maybe you can talk more about this to our listeners, going back to Quebec, 2013. This was a runaway train, and I guess they were carrying crude oil? Can you give us some details what happened back then, Greg?
Yeah, it was a single-person operated locomotive, parked a train on a hill. They did not, again, where you have two people, usually you have a double check to make sure that everything is secured properly. Unfortunately, that didn't happen here, and the train rolled backwards and destroyed a town and killed a lot of people. That is, Canada, the Canadian government learned the lesson and immediately implemented a minimum of two people on every freight train. We cannot wait for a similar type of accident to happen in this country before we learn the lessons that we should have already learned. And as someone who represents aviation workers and maritime workers and others, I mean, if you look at the FAA, too many of these important safety regulations, whether it be fatigue rules for pilots or training requirements, they were implemented after major catastrophes. And why would we sit around and wait for something like that to happen in rail before we institute meaningful safety regulation?
Yeah, because they just care about profits, the industry. That's all they care about at this point.